At number 10, Russell Brand. This man has been slowly exposing himself to the public over the years as his chaotic energy has just gotten worse and worse. Brand has previously gone down in history as being the worst host of the Video Music Awards ever, but now he's going down in history for being an absolutely terrible human being. 4 women have come forward alleging that Brand mistreated them verbally and physically between the years of 2006 and 2014, arguably the height of his career. He strongly denies the allegations, and in a video that he posted himself, the actor claimed that while he was promiscuous, all relationships were consensual. One woman claimed that Russell had started a relationship with her in 2006 while she was still in high school and he was 30. Apparently, they met when Brand bumped into her at the mall. According to the woman, the relationship was meant to be anonymous, with Russell asking her to straight up lie to her parents. He even wrote her a script to keep things smooth. Another woman alleged similar behavior in 2007, but added that he had a massive temper, becoming physical with her a few times. Several more women have spoken about their situations with Brand, all of which were eerily similar and showed that he has a pattern of mistreatment. At number 9, Jonah Hill. Unfortunately, it would appear that the once funny man turned Oscar nominee is really a jerk. Recently, a news article broke of his ex-girlfriend, Sarah Bradley, revealing evidence that Hill was emotionally damaging towards her during their relationship. The couple first got together in 2021, meeting on the beach as she was a surf instructor. According to a series of texts between Sarah and Jonah, it's obvious that he is manipulative. He told Sarah to remove any photos of her in a bathing suit, which was a lot of them due to her being a surf instructor. When she did that, he told her it was a good start, but she didn't seem to get his point. He then told her, "It's not my place to teach you. I've made my boundaries clear. You refuse to let go of some of them, and you've made that clear, and I hope it makes you happy." People felt that his boundaries were closer to ridiculous demands, and in another screenshot, Hill explained his conditions for maintaining their relationship, including stating that he didn't want Sarah surfing with men, aka her job. He wrote a massive list of boundaries and rules that were just clearly him trying to control everything Sarah did. At number 8, Oprah Winfrey. Who would have guessed that the woman once famous for handing out cars on her talk show is being canceled by the world? Why? Well, Oprah made a career-ending mistake when herself and Dwayne Johnson broke the one rule of being a billionaire: don't ask poor people for money. Last week, Winfrey and The Rock announced that they would be starting a relief fund for the victims of Maui wildfires. The People's Fund of Maui was given a solid $10 million to get off the ground, $10 million donated by Winfrey and Johnson combined. So why is it just Oprah getting so much hate online? Well, it's because she has a net worth of roughly $2.8 billion, billion with a B. The internet is collectively furious at Oprah for having the audacity to ask working class citizens for charity when most people can barely afford to put food on their table. The Rock and Oprah donated $5 million each to give the fund a head start, except $5 million to Oprah is like $500 to us. Oprah ended up addressing all the hate online, telling the Daily Mail that she was disappointed in the reaction from the world rather than focus on the good things and the people of Maui. The world was mad that she asked them to give a nickel. Oprah has yet to confirm if she will be donating any more to the fund, but so far it's not looking very promising. At number 7, Drew Barrymore. The actress and now talk show host made headlines last week when she announced when her very popular show, The Drew Barrymore Show, would return to air despite there being a massive writer's strike in Hollywood at the moment that a majority of celebs have shown their support towards. The Charlie's Angels star claimed that the move was not intended to make light of the current situation, but rather as a way to create a safe environment to discuss the difficult topics. She posted a video to Instagram apologizing for all the pain the decision had clearly caused people. The writers who worked on her show before the strike were literally standing outside of CBS studios with picket signs. The internet called her a number of different insults and asked that she be fired from the show altogether. Well, apparently Drew heard everyone's cries and decided to keep the show off air for now. While she made the right move in the end, it may be too little too late. At number 6, Danny Masterson. The actor, best known for his role on the sitcom That 70s Show, has been convicted on serious charges of misconduct. 3 women came forward detailing a time when Masterson aggressively took advantage of them. 3 separate incidents took place between 2001 and 2003, but a verdict was not reached until just this year. The first round of investigations actually took place while he was still on That 70s Show, but at the time there wasn't enough physical evidence to take things very far. In 2017, the investigation was reopened, and it was reported that he once again being investigated. The women spoke about Masterson's misdeeds, and they were eventually able to scrape together enough evidence for a conviction. Another woman came forward in 2017, rounding it up to 4 accusers. It was revealed throughout the proceedings that Netflix had actually tried to dispute the claims of these women as a way to maintain their working relationship with Masterson. Eventually, he was fired from the ranch and, well, everything with his name attached to it. The actor defended himself tooth and nail right up until the final verdict. In the last year, former co-stars like Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis wrote character statements supporting Danny and literally claiming that he was a role model. At number 5, Jada Pinkett Smith. Jada was well known for a long time, mostly as Will Smith's wife, but also for her occasional acting roles. These days, she's known as a disgruntled talk show host. For a few years, Pinkett Smith hosted a talk show online called Red Table Talk, where she would invite guests to come on so they could discuss various topics, from upcoming projects to the man she was dating while her and Will were on not so good terms. The show was known for getting a little too deep into Jada's personal life, often making the viewers and her guests very uncomfortable, revealing details that nobody asked for. The company she worked for eventually decided to shut down their streaming, and her show would suffer. The show may have also been canceled due in part to her husband smacking Chris Rock in the face. At number 4, Colleen Ballinger. Former YouTuber and current demon, Colleen Ballinger has recently been outed as having inappropriate relationships with her young fans. Luckily, nothing went as far as becoming physical, but her involvement in various group chats with fans half her age was extremely inappropriate. Ballinger is best known for her character Miranda Sings, who became so popular on YouTube that she received her own Netflix series. If you haven't seen that, too late, it's been removed now. She was basically messaging her fans to deliver so-called advice when she was really just trying to manipulate them into being her unpaid employees and sending them to bat for her during any kind of drama. Following the backlash, Colleen decided to post an apology online. The only thing was, she did it while playing a ukulele. In response to the cringiest apology of all time, her former fans decided to cancel her for good by reminding the world of a number of inappropriate bits, sketches, and jokes she probably shouldn't have done and certainly should not have been available to children to watch. At number 3, Katy Perry. Recently, Katy Perry took to social media to announce that she wants to quit being a judge on American Idol after 6 years over a fear that she's being made to look like a bad guy by the producers. For those who don't know, Perry had an interesting reaction to a contestant revealing she was a mother of 3 and being much older than she looked. In response, Perry stood up out of her chair and almost laid on the judge's table. The contestant, Sarah Beth, then sarcastically said that if Katy laid on the table, she would die, and Katy responded with, "Honey, you've been laying on the table too much," in reference to her having multiple kids at a young age. At first, everyone laughed and this all seemed in good fun, but following her audition, Sarah announced she would be going back to California to be with her family, claiming she just wasn't cut out for show business. She later took to TikTok to call Perry out for the joke, which was shaming her in a number of different ways. Katy has been defending herself since the video, claiming it was not meant to be harmful, but she's made similar comments and jokes to many contestants over the years. At number 2, Justin Roiland. The creator of the adult cartoon comedy series Rick and Morty was on a hot streak at the start of 2023. Rick and Morty had been just renewed for another season. His first-person adventure comedy High on Life was becoming one of the most played games across the country, and oh, then he got arrested for being a jerk. Turns out that this man who made the world laugh was also a man who made women cry. It was revealed that he would be facing 2 separate criminal charges in Orange County, stemming from a domestic incident that took place in 2020 with the woman he was dating at the time. While he denied the allegations at first, several other women came forward to share their stories of mistreatment from Justin, who had apparently been sending them horrific DMs online that varied from pretty tame to the creepiest stuff you've ever heard. Roiland was stripped of his contract with Disney and Hulu, who'd been distributing his series on its streaming services and were funding his most recent projects. Roiland was also replaced on both Solar Opposites and Rick and Morty, with the current news being Dan Stevens is taking his place. And at number 1, Donald Trump. In 2006, Donald Trump was known as a wealthy real estate mogul with a hit reality series called The Apprentice. He was recently married to Melania with a 4-month-old baby. However, reports leaked that Trump was actually in the midst of an affair with adult film star Stormy Daniels after she filed a civil suit claiming the contract he made her sign to keep quiet was invalid. Daniels claimed that herself and Trump shared an intimate relationship for roughly a year during his marriage to Melania. These aren't the first allegations of an affair, as Trump has been back and forth in the media since the 70s, being accused by 26 women of mistreatment or misconduct. While these rumors have never held any merit at first, the truth was finally set free. After being the most chaotic president in recent history, it was announced in March that Trump was arrested on 34 separate violations of a New York law against falsifying business documents to conceal another crime. Over the years, he was essentially taking company money and using it to pay off anyone who may have been a threat to him, both personally and politically.
Number 10. How they met. In an interview with Harper's Bazaar UK in 2019, Sophie spoke about their meeting and she basically said they got set up. She explained that they had a lot of mutual friends and they had been trying to introduce them for quite some time. Apparently they were following each other on Instagram and he direct messaged her one fine day out of the blue. Soon after the meeting, he invited her to meet up with his tour that was passing through the UK. She said that the two of them had an instant connection, even though she hadn't expected to like him. She said he didn't bring security, he brought a friend, and they drank just as hard as the rest of us. I remember us two spending only a couple of minutes on the dance, and then we found a space in the far corner and we just talked. Sophie went on to say that they talked for hours and hours, but that she was never bored. She felt that the conversation wasn't contrived, it wasn't small talk. From her point of view, it was just easy. She said soon they were inseparable, and then she went on tour with him. So at that point, it seemed like she had really fallen hard for this dude, and marriage came very quickly after that. Like very quickly, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Number 9. Age is but a number. Joe was 28 years old when he popped the question to his then 21-year-old girlfriend Sophie. A lot of people believe that age is just a number. Many didn't find this to be a big deal at first. An insider close to the couple revealed that they were madly in love, and while Sophie is a bit younger than he is, she grew up in a small English town, so it's not completely out of the ordinary for an age difference to be glossed over. Many fans also came to her defense, citing her mental maturity. While she may have been 21, she was forced to grow up very fast, and because of that, she was probably closer to like a 30-year-old mentally speaking. The red flag is that much like celebrities like Leonardo DiCaprio or Al Pacino, Joe tends to date people much younger than himself, like supermodel Gigi Hadid. His oldest girlfriend was Taylor Swift. She was a whole 4 months older than him. Wow, make way for grandma! Despite how uncomfortable many fans found the age gap to be, the couple did not care, and really, that's what matters. Number 8. Flirty McGurdy. When these two first got together, it was believed that Joe had all of the leverage. Why? Well, Sophie was into him for quite some time, but she was aware that at the time, Joe was not known for his commitment skills. When they first met, he was a player, and according to several women, he was seeing them simultaneously and without each other's knowledge. Joe's tone shifted though when he met Sophie. By December of 2016, he was becoming a one-woman kind of guy. According to Sophie, they were intoxicated with each other and they started dating exclusively. However, it appears that he was playing the field for so long that he's forgotten to turn off his game. Joe was still flirting with women at his shows, and while it may have been accidental, the fact that he's not aware of what he's doing was cause for concern. Not only has Joe flirted with other people in the past, but apparently his ex Sophie did as well, with one of Joe's close friends whose jaw literally dropped when he saw her in real life. Number 7. The private PDA? Despite crying out to the public to just leave them alone, Sophie and Joe were known for their aggressive PDA. Whether it's getting cozy at an awards show, or at a Kings of Leon's concert, or during a shopping trip. Page 6 reported that in May of 2017, the couple went into a dressing room together in a Soho boutique. According to the report, the couple entered the change room and a customer noticed both of them in bare feet below the door. Now, while it's super creepy that someone was just peeking under doors in Soho, it was clear that Sophie was trying on clothes for Joe in the privacy of their own little room. When they exited, they noticed the couple to be giggly and very touchy-feely. Now, while being close isn't a bad thing per se, these two have constantly asked the world to ignore them and stop focusing on their love lives. Well, hey man, then stop licking your wife in public. Number 6. In and out. Las Vegas weddings. Quick, easy, and everlasting. Joe and Sophie tied the knot in Las Vegas after publicly claiming several times that they were in no rush to get married. After telling the world they'd be taking time off for themselves following their engagement, it was not less than a month later that they tied the knot and attended the Billboard Music Awards right after getting their license, like on the exact same day. They went to a little wedding chapel in Las Vegas that's famous for its star weddings, like Britney Spears' marriage to her friend Jason Alexander for 2 days. Not to mention, the wedding featured some huge Vegas cliches. There was an Elvis impersonator literally officiating the thing. Many speculate that Joe was trying to prove something to his brothers by throwing the exact opposite of their weddings. Nick Jonas and Priyanka Chopra had an extravagant $1 million wedding spanning multiple days. The only people in attendance for Joe and Sophie were Joe's brothers, DJ Khaled and Diplo. They also didn't wear the traditional dress and suit, instead opting for slacks and jeans. To cap it all off, they used ring pops instead of real rings to seal the deal. Man, I feel like I'm describing a dream that I had. Number 5. Sophie was hesitant. Sophie Turner previously admitted to OK Australia in 2016 that she's never dated anyone who she didn't know before or who is in the industry. Her reasoning, well, in addition to being more focused on her career than her love life at the time, she claimed that their lifestyles were a contributing factor. Joe and Sophie had different ideas of what was fun. She went on to say how on-set romances are amazing, but they tend to be very temporary when it comes to their time together, so that was a big fear for her. The logistics seemed to be her main concern as well. If she was filming in Australia and he was on tour in the States, how would that work? They'd never see each other. After getting together officially with Joe, Sophie did admit that she felt like she was in a fishbowl. Frustratingly for her, the smallest thing would be made into headline news. If she stubbed her toe on the sidewalk, it was in the front page. Her frustrations are legitimate, but why maintain this charade for so long if you're uncomfortable from the start? Number 4. Short and sweet. Before being engaged, the couple only dated for a very short time. Joe Jonas and Sophie Turner were first linked after attending a Halloween party together in 2016. The singer showed up dressed as a Dalmatian, while his love interest sported some pink sequins bunny ears, according to People magazine. Less than a week later, they were spotted looking very comfortable at the pre-MTV European Music Awards event in the Netherlands, where Kings of Leon's performed. Less than a year after getting together, Sophie was spotted with a ring on her finger, and the engagement was confirmed. Many people get engaged early in their relationship, but as you've seen through this video, this was a case of rushing into things a little too quickly considering some of the other entries on this list. Number 3. She's messing with a gold digger. According to an inside source close to the couple, Joe was beyond excited when he started dating Sophie, and sounds like it's because of her money. According to the source, one of the main reasons that Joe is so smitten with his ex-man wife is because she is able to provide for herself and for him. Apparently, Sophie does not let Joe pay for most things, something the musician is not used to. When speaking about his wife in interviews, Joe kinda just backed up the whole gold digger theory, as the first and foremost thing that he mentions is how much he loves her independence. He literally said, "She buys me stuff all the time. I love it." While many praise Sophie for her efforts, many people started pointing out the red flag and expressing their discomfort knowing that Joe Jonas doesn't pay the bill when he's out with his lady. Maybe that's why they're getting divorced. Maybe she kept the tabs and the bill finally came due. Number 2. Different love languages. According to Sophie herself, she learned that a majority of what she knows about physical intimacy was from her time on the HBO series Game of Thrones. I'm not sure why this needs to be said, but I'm gonna say it. Don't treat Game of Thrones as something to learn from. Dragons aren't real. They're not real, Nate. Thanks to the show, it may have skewered her view on what proper intimacy looks like. Meanwhile, Joe just seems to love chit-chatting about his private parts. Seriously, like every chance this guy gets, it's genitalia. He boasted to Vulture in December of 2013 about removing his purity ring, which himself and his brothers Kevin and Nick rocked during their Disney days. In October of 2016, he then talked about the size of his little dinghy compared to that of his brothers, which is just too much information. Very uncomfortable. He goes on to recount the time that he lost his V card and about becoming a little bit too excited while filming music videos with Ashley Graham and Charlotte McKinney. Sophie has expressed her disappointment in this lack of restraint and has begged him to quit numerous times, but he persists and now they're divorced. And at number 1, Joe took off his wedding ring first. In the weeks leading up to this divorce announcement, Joe was photographed without his wedding ring quite a few times. One of those moments was as far back as August 11th, when he was picking up an iced coffee in New York City. But since then, he's made a point of wearing it again, even as the couple have officially filed for divorce. On Monday, Joe posted a black and white photo on Instagram that showed him looking at the camera and holding a cup with his wedding band prominently on full display. Then, just this morning, he posted a statement to Instagram claiming that it was from the two of them. It said, "After 4 wonderful years of marriage, we have mutually decided to amicably end our marriage. There are many speculative narratives as to why, but truly this is a united decision and we sincerely hope that everyone can respect our wishes for privacy for us and our children." This is quite a shock considering that the news only broke a few days ago. Sources spoke to TMZ and said that Joe had his people contact at least 2 divorce lawyers in LA, and the couple has had serious problems in their relationship for at least 6 months. response. Number 10. The hypocrisy. Lizzo may have been a public advocate for body positivity, but as part of the lawsuit being brought against her, it seems like all of that positivity may have just been some act that she was putting on to make herself more universally loved. Now, I am not a small man. In fact, I have what many people consider to be a dad bod, and I'm cool with it. So I'm not dismissing the notion that we should love and respect ourselves, but she made it a massive part of her personality on camera when it sounds like the only body she actually cared about was her own. According to her dancers, Lizzo regularly shamed her team and made them feel that they were too large or gaining weight, with several dancers confirming these allegations. Liz made several posts over the years spreading the positive body image, but now she's being called out for being a massive hypocrite, which she 100% is. That's like the government telling you not to do something when they just do it anyway. They would never do that. Right? Number 9. The leaked meeting. One of the dancers, Crystal Davies, who was a part of the lawsuit, was fired for secretly recording a meeting between herself and Lizzo. The meeting was about the dancer's performance on stage recently and Lizzo's apparent dislike of the weight that she had been gaining, claiming that she wasn't committing to her role. Initially, Davies only planned on recording the conversation for personal reasons. She has a condition that leaves her disoriented sometimes, and she wanted a backup on the off chance that she forgot what the meeting was about. After it was discovered that the audio recording existed, the dancer was promptly fired, apparently being pulled into a meeting just to get yelled at before they let her go, not even giving her a chance to speak. Lizzo exacting her star power to simply end the career of one of her main backup dancers is insane and is most certainly worth the lawsuit coming her way. Number 8. Her party lifestyle. One key factor of this lawsuit being brought against Lizzo is the place in which all these accusations went down. Lizzo was at a club in Amsterdam's red light district when she coerced, aka forced, one of her dancers to touch a woman's bare chest, despite saying several times that it was not something that she wanted to do. Facts are, this actually isn't the first time that Lizzo has been seen living it up at the club. Over the past few years, she's been known to be a regular party girl, spending a solid amount of time between touring to have just a good time and celebrate her success. But the amount in which she has been partying, despite being such an advocate for positivity, is wild. For someone who shares this message of loving yourself, she sure likes to drink the no-no juice, not to mention throwing her money around at every chance she gets. Nobody wants to talk about it, but that night in Amsterdam probably cost them a fortune. I don't know, I've never been. Moving on. Number 7. She made the dancers eat fruit. Alright, let's get into this Amsterdam situation. According to the lawsuit, Lizzo coerced her dancers to go out with her to a nightclub in the city's red light district. And once they arrived at the club, it was brought to their attention that the club encouraged dancers to wear their birthday suits. Dancers would also perform special shows in which they would launch things from their catapults. Nope, I don't like that one. Lizzo's team were encouraged to catch the launched items, which included various adult objects, and at one point the dancers were apparently encouraged to eat bananas that had been protruding from their fruit baskets. No, that's worse somehow. But that wasn't even the worst of it. Lizzo then told her crew to come with her to a club in Paris that was specifically filled with servers and staff wearing nothing at all. All the dancers were shocked and they were robbed of their choice to not attend. I think we can all agree being handed your food by someone in nothing but kitchen shoes sounds pretty uncomfortable. This is when Lizzo had heavily encouraged dancer Miss Davies to touch one performer on her chest, which she clearly did not want to do, but her boss yelled at her and told her to do it, so you know how that goes. Just an overall weird night, and I'm not even mildly shocked that someone came forward to call this out. Shady. Number 6. The dance captain. Lizzo is not the only person being named in this lawsuit. Her dance captain, Shirlene Quigley, is also facing a slew of accusations. According to the suit, Quigley shared lewd physical fantasies with dancers and the crew, and publicly discussed the purity of one performer while simultaneously berating all other dancers who had premarital relations. Now, sharing your beliefs is one thing, but trying to jam them down the throat of your employees, that's not a great move. According to several dancers from the past few years, whenever this woman was around, she was a nightmare, not only spouting her religious beliefs at anyone who had ears, but also attempting to convert several of the crew members. Quigley is being named personally in this lawsuit for creating a hostile work environment, having extreme racial biases, discrimination towards disabled employees, and a failure to prevent or remedy the situation. Number 5. Lizzo tried to distract us. Lizzo is just like the rest of the world. When she's had a few too many adult beverages, she's unable to keep her hands off her phone. According to a TikTok TikTok post from earlier this year, though, Lizzo admitted to sliding into Captain America star Chris Evans' DMs. She had apparently sent him emojis of dashing away, women playing handball, and a basketball. Now, I'm no detective, but was this supposed to be like, I'm coming to you, Chris, balls in your court? Who knows what she meant. But to follow up that message, she released a TikTok in which she lip-synced to an audio clip. You know, that thing that makes people tons of money for doing absolutely nothing on an app. I was going to quote it, but I can't physically type things from TikTok because my brain starts to twitch, so it's my least favorite app in the world right now, and that includes Flappy Bird. The fact that she openly admitted to not only overindulging in no-no juice, but also directly suggesting that Chris's butt, his ball is in her net. I don't know what the emojis mean. Many fans believe she brought this to their attention to save some face when the official lawsuit was released, possibly knowing that this was coming for quite some time. Number 4, her TV show. Now, Watch Out for the Big Girls is a TV show that only recently came into my life thanks to doing research for this video. The series premiered last year and follows Lizzo as she hunts for confident women to join her world tour as dancers. In fact, among the many cast members on the show were 2 of the 3 plaintiffs in this case, Ariana Davies and Crystal Williams. The show is just one of the many tactics that she seems to have used to make herself look better when the truth got revealed. Despite the show being a search for new talent, it turned into some kind of like a shield that she could use. How could Lizzo be so mean when she had a whole show dedicated to giving people jobs? Well, following the news of the suit, many people have called to question why Lizzo would work on the project when she's such an advocate for body positivity. Well, with no word from Lizzo yet as to her side of the story, the world is quickly canceling her from society, and we may just end up having to add her to our top 10 destroyed careers of 2023. Number 3, the hostile work environment. Lizzo created an extremely hostile work environment according to the plaintiffs, with several examples that have been backed up by former dancers and even some people involved with the documentary that she was trying to get off the ground. According to the plaintiffs, Lizzo made them work ridiculous hours, including up to 12-hour rehearsal days, and one of the dancers recounted an experience of having to use the washroom and being forced to do it in her pants while rehearsing so that she didn't lose any time. Like, Lizzo, if someone has to use the bathroom, let them go. Yeah, just let them go. It took longer for them to get the poor woman a new change of clothes than it would have taken her to go take 5, you know? Like, next time just let them pee. Let them pee in peace. In fact, as a form of humiliation on the part of Lizzo and her dance coach, they made Davies wear a see-through garment with nothing underneath and finish her day in front of the entire crew. Now, if that is not the definition of a toxic workplace, I'm not sure what is. Number 2, claimed that the dancers were drinking. Lizzo has made many claims regarding the women involved in this case, but one of the most outlandish is the idea that the backup dancers were indulging in no-no juice before every show. Lizzo claimed that the backup crew was lacking in energy, simply going with the motions and getting off the stage quickly as possible. This caused Lizzo to accuse several of the dancers on her team of partying before they were supposed to do their jobs. Dancer Crystal Williams spoke out against the claim immediately, reminding Lizzo about the 12-hour rehearsal days and constant mental strain from working beneath her, being a contributing factor to the so-called dip in energy. Trying to claim that your crew has been slacking when they have the receipts? It's a bad move on Lizzo's part and will surely be one of the several reasons that she's cancelled this year. Number 1, she has said nothing. By far the shadiest thing of all, and the thing taking the top spot on this list, is the fact that Lizzo has said nothing about this at all, and it's not to say that she isn't aware of the suit. In fact, she posted on Instagram 3 separate times on the day that the news broke, but it had nothing to do with the lawsuit. Not only does that mean that she had her phone and was very capable of reading the news, but that she blatantly ignored the possibly thousands of comments and messages she is surely receiving. When something like this happens, it's important that the person being accused of the misdeeds to come forward and either fess up or deny everything. There's no in between. Being silent is the worst thing that you can do. It gives the internet more time to circulate negative stuff, and eventually it'll take over anything good that you try to do and will land you in a realm where no one can hear your screams or cries. Now, Lizzo could very well be taking her sweet time to draft up a proper statement so she doesn't actually say something wrong that the court can use later. Makes sense, because let's face it, this is about to be a rough few months for this woman. I'd wish her luck, but like a lot of people have backed up everything that's being said. So, Mila Kunis and Ashton Kutcher have become a major part of the media storm this week, after their character letters to Danny Masterson were leaked to the public. Danny is on trial for the physical mistreatment of several women, and he had been in custody since May, but he was recently sentenced to 30 years in prison. Even after the slew of evidence and testimonies, Danny and his team have still publicly maintained his innocence. Well, Ashton and Mila were also under that impression when they wrote character letters to the judge overseeing his case, in which they described Danny as a decent man who was generous and kind. Mila chimed in and praised Danny, calling him an outstanding role model and a friend. The letters that were intended solely for the eyes of the judge were leaked into the press. They wrote these letters well after the controversy came to light, so not only were they aware of Danny's possible sentencing, but they still decided to back him up, hence the apology video. Over the weekend, the couple released a video apologizing for the statements they made in their letters that was just the fakest thing that you have ever seen in your life. Now, I'm gonna break it down. It's tea time. First and foremost, Mila is an actress. Between herself and Ashton, it's pretty clear who's the busiest bee in the house. It's Mila. It's also obvious from the way Mila speaks that during the entire apology, it's just all lies. The whole thing is filled with the same old tropes as every other apology video ever put into the world. They understand the pain they've caused, they're sorry for their actions, blah blah blah. But you gotta hand it to these guys, they actually sound like they have their lines down pat. In case it isn't obvious, which come on, it is. They have clearly rehearsed this speech and they've got it down to under a minute. I'm not sure if they wrote it themselves though, because the vocabulary that they use is very advanced. I'm sorry if I don't believe that Jesse from Dude Where's My Car wrote the sentence, "full consideration relative to the sentencing." They actually might not be completely off script, however, because periodically throughout the video you can see them looking off of camera almost like they're reading cue cards on SNL. The video just proved that they had little to no remorse for their actions, believing that they were just trying to help a friend in need. At one point they say they had no intention for the letters that they had written to be seen by anyone other than the judge. So their apology was more of a, oh man, I'm sorry we got caught kind of thing. They're not actually sorry for anything they've said or done, they're just sorry that someone leaked their letters to the press. Like, listen, either apologize for something or don't, because when you try to make the whole justified apology thing, it's just plain rude. Supporting a man who is being accused by several women of something that is truly disturbing is a major red flag in our eyes. Mila looks so done the entire time, and she is overacting with each and every word she says. Meanwhile, Ashton seems just a little bit more calm, cool, and collected, but he really shouldn't be. Supporting Danny, especially when it comes to this situation, makes him look like a massive hypocrite. In case you were unaware, Ashton's been working with a company called Thorn since 2012. The company that he co-founded with Demi Moore that is designed to monitor the activity of underage folks online and prevent any criminal situations from taking place. The company has grown since, and it still works to that goal to this day. Which, like, hey, that is awesome, keep people safe online, way to go. But how are you going to create an entire company dedicated to preventing the exact thing that your buddy was arrested for? Ashton has been called out by many fans and victims of violence for his hypocritical actions. There is no word on how his company is handling the situation, but so far it's not looking like they have any reason to fire him just yet. Despite his buddy Danny being charged and sentenced to 30 years, he still seems to be holding back in his apology video. The video is, after all, just like 1 minute long, so we can only imagine how much stuff that this man actually had to say. His letter was very revealing. As I'll get into in a moment, Ashton and Mila have been well aware of Danny's controversy for quite some time, yet when asked to write character witness statements, they leaped at the opportunity to defend him. Both Ashton and Mila have always presented themselves as, calm, cool, and collected people. But between Ashton's humanitarian work and Mila's career in comedy, they seemed like a wholesome Hollywood couple born from controversy. Yeah, Ashton was still married when he started seeing Mila, allegedly. But that's not my point. What we've come to learn in the last few weeks is that this couple may actually be super toxic, rude, and dismissive behind the scenes. There have been reports here and there, but they all run along the same pattern of they're terrible guests and they're always annoyed by everything. In fact, in a recent interview, past talk host Sharon Osbourne shared her encounter with Ashton a few years ago. While doing an interview for E!, she told the outlet that the rudest celebrity she had ever met was the guy who married the actress from That 70s Show. When the host confirmed that she meant Ashton Kutcher, she called him a quote, rude, 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 rude little boy. The hosts were shocked as she went on to call him a dastardly little thing. Like, she's very focused on the little thing. She claimed that Ashton had been a guest when she was still working on The Talk. He had a very bad attitude about everything. She said he was mad from the start and asked Sharon to list her credentials, trying to play the whole I'm more established than you are, so why am I here type thing. Sharon, of course, is the Princess of Darkness, being married to rock legend Ozzy Osbourne, so she put Ashton in his place, which he did not like. It would be no surprise to learn that Ashton is a mean man off camera. Think about some of the segments on his prank show Punk'd. We just towed your car away and now you have to take the bus. Yes! You just got punked! That's a real thing that happened to somebody. On camera. Ashton is not the only bad apple in this relationship. Mila is also known for being a pretty rude individual, especially when it comes to interviews. As with many celebrities, she likes to stay busy, but busy for her is acting. It's not talking about real stuff. She is known for being easily annoyed by very simple questions. In fact, when asked how she was feeling in one interview, she responded with, I don't talk about that for publication. Okay, a simple I'm good would have been okay, but whatever. Several interviewers found her to be dismissive, and she very clearly did not want to be there. Same with this apology video, Mila just looks annoyed. She's visibly confused as to why she has to make this video in the first place. Who was it benefiting? Why was it important? Well, lots of people, and for several reasons. They apologize for a lot of things in this video, but as I previously touched on, they don't actually say Danny is a bad guy and we know that now. They apologize for the pain that the words that they've said have caused, claiming the goal was never to denounce the testimonies given in court. For these guys, it was just a letter about their buddy from that 70s show. But let's talk about that 70s show for a moment, because it was not all peaches and cream behind the scenes either. That 70s show was a popular sitcom that helped launch several careers, including Mila, Ashton, and Danny. Danny was of course on this show, but it turns out that the allegations against him dated back to 2004, where they were actually reported, like in 2004. Danny was still on the show when an investigation was taking place. 4 women reported that he had mistreated them physically, prompting local law enforcement to halt production on the show and bring Danny in for questioning. The investigation brought little to no actual evidence to the table, so Danny was let go, and the entire thing was just kind of forgotten about. But that means that Ashton and Mila literally watched this dude go in for questioning and still called him a role model in their character witness letters. It makes no sense. Their jobs were literally stopped while this man was under investigation. And when the charges come up again over 15 years later, they still stick to his side. That 70s show was chock full of issues behind the scenes, because not only was Danny being investigated, but it turned out that Mila lied about her age just to get a role on the show. But she was already so deep into the run that they just didn't want to write her character out. Just imagine if things worked out differently. That 70s show would have just been 2 buddies in a basement hanging out. Just basically the premise of Dude, Where's My Car? Their letter may not have been intended to call the testimonies of the victims into question or whatever, but that's what happened. Plus, yeah, it's definitely what you were trying to do. The media has been covering the situation for a long time. Danny was brought into custody in May, but the allegations were actually brought up as far back as 2017. Between 2017 and now, Ashton and Mila have still decided that this man is a good dude and a role model. I still can't get past that statement. Role model for what, not doing the right thing maybe? Yeah. The apology only makes the entire situation that much worse. The overacting that takes place, combined with the obviously fake apology, makes them look even worse than they already are. It was just them telling us how sorry they were that things turned out this way. In an alternate universe, the letters made their way to the judge untouched, leaving Ashton and Mila to live in blissful ignorance. Now, there are so many reasons why this apology is meaningless and why it's so obviously a fake move made for like press coverage or something, from the bad acting to the cue cards to the I'm sorry we got caught angle. This is just the worst thing that these two could have done. Earlier this week, the talk show host and actress said that the program would be returning and would be in line with the rules of the strict guidelines, but the show's writers were among those who picketed the studio in New York after the show resumed filming. This past Tuesday, the National Book Foundation said it had rescinded Drew's invitation to host the National Book Awards, which I truly did not know was a thing. I just assumed that they slapped a New York Times bestseller sticker on the front and just kind of let it loose. But there is a very real ceremony that Drew is no longer welcome to attend. The foundation released a statement saying the National Book Awards is an evening dedicated to celebrating the power of literature and the incomparable contributions of writers in our culture. They went on to say, in light of the announcement that the Drew Barrymore show will resume production, the National Book Foundation has rescinded Miss Barrymore's invitation to host the 74th National Book Awards ceremony in New York. The move comes completely out of left field, as before the controversy, the foundation praised her work. Drew is the author of several books, including a biographical piece called Wildflower, recounting her childhood. The book has received massive praise and, surprise surprise, was on the New York Times bestsellers list. The Writers Guild of America has been on strike since the beginning of May over concerns about pay, proper working conditions, and the use of artificial intelligence, with actors joining the strike in July in solidarity. The cast of Oppenheimer, one of the highest grossing films of this year, walked out of the Los Angeles premiere just to join the picket line in an attempt to spread awareness and showcase the impact that the strike had on Hollywood as a whole. Now, at the start of the strike, Drew stepped down as the host of her show, as well as the host for the MTV Film and TV Awards, in solidarity with the striking WGA members. However, she has stated that she made the choice to return for the first time during the strike for the sake of the show. She said that the show may have her name on it, but that the whole situation was much larger than herself. She owned the choice and confirmed that the show had no intentions of operating against the guidelines set in place by the strike, namely the rule of promoting affected TV shows or films. She went on to say that the return to the show was her way of trying to provide what writers do so well, which is a way of bringing us together or help make sense of the human experience. The bigwigs at CBS said that her show would not be performing any written work covered by the WGA strike, so Drew essentially signed herself up to write and star in the talk show. The show, which was set to return to air tonight, normally employs at least 3 writers who are members of the Writers Guild, members that picketed outside of the studio. Speaking on the picket line, one former writer, Chelsea White, said, "First and foremost, this is obviously bigger than the Drew Barrymore show and its writers," and she continued to say that they were on the lines to stand with their union and were feeling great and just excited to be surrounded by so many creative minds. Chelsea informed us that Barrymore's show was Writers Guild of America covered. It was a struck show that is planning to return without its writers, which is just a fancy way of saying she really shouldn't be putting it back on. A union representative told the press that the guild has and will continue to picket struck shows that are in production during the writer's strike. Any writing on the Drew Barrymore show is in violation of the WGA rules, something that our team literally said would not happen. What's odd is that Drew's position as a performer on the show was not in violation of anything that the rules had. According to CBS, the show is covered by some different actor's contract than the one that's currently in dispute. So the contract, which covers talk, game, and variety shows and soap operas, was renewed by the union last year. So technically speaking, she's not breaking a guideline, but at the same time she kinda is, because while protected on the hosting side of things, writing her own material is super against the rules. Drew released a 4-minute long apology taking full responsibility for her actions and giving her side as her decision onto restarting the show. She never meant to hurt anyone, as she herself has been through some truly rough situations. She of course acknowledged the pain that she had caused people online and knew that there was nothing that she could say to make this better. She reminded the audience that the show was literally created and premiered in 2020 when we were all supposed to stay away from each other, and it was literally built on sensitivity. But unfortunately, as she said, there is not much that can be said or done to make things right or solve this problem. The situation is unfortunate. Just to explain a little bit on what's happening with this strike, on March 7th of this year, 99% of members from the Writers Guild of America voted in favor of demands that included calls for increased compensation, better residuals, staffing requirements, and protection from artificial intelligence interfering with their jobs. Negotiations between the union and the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Production. Who would have guessed that the guys at the top making all the money wouldn't want to share the money with the people who made them rich? That's so shocking. The strike shut down everything in Hollywood. Films like Deadpool 3 were put on ice until the two sides could reach an agreement. The reason Drew Barrymore is receiving so much hate right now is because the strike also put live shows on ice. Saturday Night Live, Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon, all of the Jimmys are on the picket lines waiting for their shows to recommence. Around the middle of July, the Screen Actors Guild and American Federation of Television and Radio Artists joined the picket line. All the actors joined in. That's what I mean. That's That's a long way of saying all of the actors were there now too, and I mean like all of the actors. Chris Hemsworth, the cast of Breaking Bad, Danny Trejo aka Machete, even Kal Penn and John Cho aka Harold and Kumar joined the lines. The failure to reach a settlement has resulted in over $3 billion hitting the California economy, and despite claims from the studios that their intentions are to reach a deal, they've continued to deny their workers the rights and will not even talk about the usage of AI in film, even though it's happening. Not to mention that during the strike, an insider at Hollywood Studios informed the media that they actually had no plans on signing anything. In fact, one executive claimed that the end game was to allow things to drag on until the union members started losing their apartments and houses. The AMP publicly refuted the report, but come on, why would anyone admit to doing that? Drew's part in all of this is honestly pretty minimal, but her move to restart the show while negotiations have yet to take place has left a very sour taste in Hollywood's mouth. However, the hate may not be warranted, and if it is, it might not last long. The recent news from the picket lines is that the studios and the union have agreed to return to the table, and they're starting to maybe reach a settlement. I'm just gonna say this now, if you made it this far into the video, thanks a lot. It means the world when you actually pay attention and follow me through these topics, but hopefully if you made it past all this strike talk, then you might have a heart and care about what's happening. So again, thank you, you're a great person. And so is Drew Barrymore. I'm not gonna hate on this lady because her decision to resume the show was just a little off, but she's not that off. There is nothing wrong with wanting to work. I do it every day for this channel, but when your colleagues and close friends and business partners are all saying, hey, don't do that, that's not okay, you should probably listen to those people. Drew Barrymore's show is wonderful. There have been some awesome and truly candid moments with celebrities that probably would have never shared that side of themselves had it not been for Drew just being such a calming presence. Her interview with musician MGK still plays in my head constantly. This man was painting nails and expressing his emotions, and hey, we love him for it. So, there has been a new development though. Over this past weekend, Drew took to Instagram to tell the world that she actually changed her mind and would allow her show to remain cancelled. All of the public backlash and surely the negative comments from her fellow performers were not helping the situation. She posted on Instagram saying that she heard our concerns and would be postponing the premiere until the strike is over. PR team at CBS praised the decision, and so far it's looking like a lesson was learned and a statement was made. Hollywood will not back down. Normally I try to make jokes here and entertain you, but honestly I do not feel okay with trying to make fun of the strike, so let's end the video on a positive note. As I mentioned, the negotiations are set to resume sometime this week. With this being one of the longest strikes in history, many celebrities are very hopeful that the next round of negotiations will yield positive results. Streaming giants like Netflix, Disney Plus, and Paramount have lost millions of dollars in possible ticket sales, and several of their releases have been pushed back during the strike. So with any luck, Drew's show and many others are going to be back in full swing very soon. Number 10. Lindsay Lohan. Lindsay was one of the most unavoidable stars in Hollywood in the early 2000s. Not only was she one of Disney's go-to girls, starring in movies like Herbie and Get a Clue, but she was also becoming a force to be reckoned with in the world of Hollywood. After being casted as Katy in the popular comedy Mean Girls, she was thrust into a small but successful career working with people like Jamie Lee Curtis, Rachel McAdams, and Chris Pine. Unfortunately, she fell off of the map a few years ago after her 6th stint in a rehabilitation center following substance control issues. Career failures, toxic relationships, and a lost love caused her to collapse. She has slowly been able to get back on her feet and recently starred in a Netflix rom-com called Falling for Christmas, which is why it surprised many writers to learn that she was not going to be joining the picket line in solidarity. In fact, she'll be staying home and watching from a window while slowly sipping a coffee mug. Apparently, Lindsay is under the impression that she's already made her money from Netflix and doesn't need a new project anytime soon. Joke's on her. When the strike hopefully ends, people will remember who was and wasn't there to help when they're rebooting The Parent Trap. Number 9. Leah Michelle. Leah has been starring on the small screen for quite some time now, and is possibly best known for her role on the popular series Glee, which turned out to not be as fun and vibrant behind the scenes as it was on screen. In 2020, Leah came under fire after her former Glee co-stars accused the actress of mean girl behavior, microaggressions, and straight up just being a jerk on set. According to a Twitter post from former co-star Samantha Ware, who starred as Jane in season 6, Leah actually expressed that if she had the chance to go poo-poo in Samantha's wig, that she would take it. Now, I'm not allowed to swear online, but I can say poo-poo like a toddler. Other co-stars claimed similar acts of aggression, even claiming that she made some comments considering to be heavily racist. Following the accusations, she issued an apology for her actions. This was just to shut people up. Now that she's been asked to participate in the picket lines, her answer will surely be a resounding nothing. Number 8. Chevy Chase. Chase had an incredibly successful career starring in several projects in the late 70s and continuing through the early 90s. Caddyshack, Fletch, and of course the National Lampoon series helped thrust this man into the status of comedy legend. That status has slowly become tainted over the years thanks to his years of hard partying and public controversy. When he was cast to star in the popular comedy series Community, it was seen as a resurgence for the actor, who ended up starring in 83 episodes of the series as Pierce Hawthorne, who, it turns out, had a lot in common with Chevy's real-life personality. Pierce is racist, has old-school beliefs on women's place in the world, and he's just overall mean to his friends. One person in particular that he was mean to was the writer and director and creator of the show, Dan Harmon. According to Dan, Chase was impossible to work with, even walking off set during a scene because he didn't like the direction. Dan eventually called him out during a rap party for season 3, but it was so rage-fueled that he was fired for his behavior. Why? Which is probably why season 4 is just so god-awful. He was asked to return for season 5 after the studio realized their mistake and wrote Pierce out of the show. It turns out Chevy was being super racist towards his colleagues, being so jealous of Donald Glover's ability as a performer to the point where he would blow up on him regularly for basically no reason. It should come as no shock that Chevy doesn't give a single care in the world about the writer's strike. He only hopes that Dan is out there melting in the heat. Number 7. Shia LaBeouf. Shia LaBeouf cemented himself as a quality actor following his role as Stanley Yelnats in the 2003 Disney movie Holes. After that, it was nothing but contracts and cocktails for LaBeouf, being casted in movies left and right, from Robot to Constantine to Transformers. But something happened to him around 2013 when he decided to get introspective and start directing his own short films that were just odd and very poorly received. He slowly started going nuts in the eye of the public too. In 2014, he was arrested outside of a Broadway theater after being disruptive during a show, apparently standing up to yell at the audience and the people on stage, and repeatedly lighting a cancer stick despite that being super illegal. It wasn't until 2017 that he officially cemented himself as the most controversial man in Hollywood, following several public outbursts, with one resulting in him being arrested. He took a brief break from acting after, being forced to because he got put behind bars, until 2019 when he had 2 movies premiere with massive success, Peanut Butter Falcon and Honey Boy. But this dude just can't stop kicking himself out of things. He was supposed to be in Olivia Wilde's Don't Worry Darling as Florence Pugh's husband, but he was kicked out last minute after a screaming match with one of the film's producers during pre-production, a role that ultimately went to Harry Styles, who is an actor now, I guess. Shia wants no part in the SAG strike, and in fact, he has decided to stay quiet and in his little hobbit hole that's hidden somewhere deep in the Hollywood Hills. Hope you're comfy, buddy. Number 6. Katherine Heigl. Kathy was once the busiest woman in Hollywood. Between 2003 and 2012, she had starred in several critically acclaimed comedies and rom-coms, as well as working steady on popular TV dramedy Grey's Anatomy. Unfortunately, Katherine doesn't know how to keep her comments to herself. After starring alongside Seth Rogen in the comedy Knocked Up, she became very vocal on the fact that she hated the project and felt that it was a terrible representation of herself and her ability as a female performer. This, combined with her comments about Grey's Anatomy writers being terrible at their jobs and giving her very little to work with, pegged her as a difficult woman to work with. Since then, she not only had a terrible time trying to get new roles, she was also written out of Grey's Anatomy the very next season. When she first got wind of an actor's strike, she had just finished doing an expose on Grey's Anatomy's behind the scenes for Vanity Fair. Her mind was somewhere else entirely, and it appears to have stayed there, as she has no plans to join the picket lines nor support her colleagues in any way, shape, or form. Oh, shocker. Number 5. Casey Affleck. Casey Affleck was pretty busy in the late 2010s. In fact, his dramatic role in Manchester by the Sea gained him the Oscar for Best Actor in 2016. He portrayed the character Lee Chandler, a brooding, irritable loner who works as a handyman for a Boston apartment block. That description is also what many people use when speaking about Casey as a person in general. Apparently, the brother to Batman, Ben Affleck, grew up so deep in the shadow of his brother that all of the personality he had was sucked out of him and left in a jar car somewhere in their basement. Since winning his Oscar, he's actually laid pretty low from the world of Hollywood, only starring in a handful of films that varied from being super interesting to just freaking confusing. What was the snowman? The SAG strike actually comes at an interesting time in his career. Casey is currently set to star alongside several Hollywood heavyweights in Christopher Nolan's latest movie, Oppenheimer, a movie which I literally can't watch for over a week because it's already sold out everywhere. With the massive amounts of cash that this flick is about to make, Casey has decided to just sit back, relax, have a cup of tea, and wait for this all to just blow over. Number 4. Alec Baldwin. Alec Baldwin has been a controversial man for a long time. Well before he accidentally ended someone's life on set of his newest film, Rust, he was spending his time as a tyrant behind the scenes. Several stories have surfaced in recent years of Alec's toxic behavior towards both his colleagues and his family. He infamously yelled at his daughter in a voicemail and called her things not worth repeating. He's also been known to be snippy with people on set, especially towards production assistants. You know, the people who get you stuff? Since 2021, Alec has been trying to win a court case, claiming that he should not receive any kind of jail time or cancellation as the slaying on set was an accident. In January of this year, he finally faced criminal charges, but will not be made to serve any jail time, despite the sum of 5 years being thrown on that table. Turns out if you're super rich, people just kinda help you get stuff, you know? Isn't that special? So yeah, Alec's not joining the SAG strike anytime soon. Number 3. Mike Myers. Mike Myers is considered to be a Canadian comedy treasure despite having a reputation for being just a very difficult man to work with on set. He may be able to play fun and exciting characters on screen, but it turns out that in the real world he's just an absolute jerk. Not very good at making decisions in his career. Dieter was a German TV host who has an unhealthy obsession with monkeys. The movie was about to be made, but Mike pulled out at the last minute, citing issues with the script that he helped write. He was actually sued by Universal Studios and Imagine Entertainment until they all got together in a room, dropped their lawsuits, and decided to work on a different project. Cat in the Hat. I'm sorry, I should have warned everyone that was going to happen. There's a picture probably. I'm sorry, I should have warned you there was going to be a photo on your screen of that. Good God. Pretty scary stuff. Ever since he starred in the 2008 comedy The Love Guru, which has aged about as well as the bag of lettuce in the back of my fridge for the last 3 months, his career has taken a noticeably dull turn, now only being casted in small cameo roles or making his own projects happen. As many may know, Mike enjoys playing multiple people on his projects, just in different makeup. He played 8 different characters for his latest TV show, The Pentaveret, which received mixed reviews, but proved that though the writers may be on strike, it will have little to no effect on this man as he can just grab a camera, grab some wigs, and make his own darn movie. Number 2. Thomas Gibson. Thomas worked on the popular television series Criminal Minds for 12 seasons before he was suddenly fired by the studio. The Criminal Minds cast revolves fairly often, with most actors choosing to leave the show after only a handful of either episodes or whole seasons. Now, Thomas's character, Aaron Hotchner, wasn't actually written out of the show officially until episode 6 of season 12. The writers decided that his character would go into witness protection, which is pretty tame considering what they probably wanted to write. Thomas was fired from the show after an on-set physical altercation took place between Gibson and one of the show's writers/producers. The incident apparently took place after a disagreement during an episode of the show that Gibson was directing. So, if you think about it, jamming him in the witness protection program is better than jamming him in like a trunk or something. According to his fellow actors, that wasn't the first time Gibson had gotten physical on set. He had previously gotten into a dispute with an assistant director from the show and was forced to attend mandatory anger management counseling that clearly didn't work. Needless to say, Gibson's opinion on the strike is simply, suck it up, buttercup, do what I say. And at number 1, Nicolas Cage. Nicolas Cage takes our top spot on this list. Why? Well, this guy's been working so much in the past few years, he's literally sitting on a pile of cash right now. He has had several movies released with enough success to give Cage a chance to take a chill pill from the acting world. While the Writers Guild is striking, Nick is at home sifting through a pile of scripts that have been on his desk since 1991, labeled worst case scenario. Maybe, I don't know his life, probably pretty messed up if you think about it. This strike is definitely the last thing on his mind because it's just so full of other random nonsense, so he's probably not going to be out there anytime soon. Number 10, the TMZ Documentary. Earlier this year, TMZ released a documentary surrounding Britney's life and relationship to Sam. Throughout the doc, it's revealed that the relationship may seem fine on the outside, but in reality, they had been having problems for a very, very long time. According to the documentary, Sam and Britney would fight constantly to the point where Sam's bed became the pull-out sofa in the living room. The doc Doc also took aim at Britney's bad habits, claiming that she was hooked on caffeine. But not like, oh my god, I love coffee, you know? It was more like, I want coffee now! Apparently, she had a rather strong craving for Red Bull and would reportedly drink it by the gallon. Her need for caffeine and high-energy substances led them to speculate that Britney was trying to cope with the difficult emotions regarding the relationship. Britney came out and claimed that she never drank energy drinks, sticking mainly to green teas and watermelon juice. Meanwhile, Sam denied several things from that documentary, but he didn't deny the caffeine control problem. Number 9. The cheating allegations. One major reveal from these two getting a divorce is that some proof has been revealed that shows the couple did in fact fight a lot. A few months ago, TMZ actually reported that Sam had accused Britney of infidelity, causing them to have a nasty verbal spat, leaving Sam out of the house and in need of a place to stay. According to the article, Sam had seen messages between Britney and a contactless phone number that were flirtatious in nature. When he confronted her about them, she was more mad than anything else. Sam went through her phone, which was, hey, not cool. The fact that they were both so quick to anger rather than solving the issue like adults was a major red flag for fans and was the first real heads up that these two were probably heading for disaster. Number 8. The overcompensation. Now, there have been a few times where this couple has flaunted their success in the face of the world, whether it be their extravagant trips to Maui or their wedding ceremony. Money seems to make the world go round for these two, but their overcompensation may be a cry for help. The pair have always been seen with something expensive either behind them or beneath them. For instance, when they were married a little over 14 months ago, the ceremony was drenched in money. The wedding dress that Britney was wearing was a white Versace gown with a long flowing veil. Sam was also in a Versace suit, and in attendance were roughly 100 guests, including Drew Barrymore and Selena Gomez, and even Madonna showed up to this thing. Everyone looked so friendly and cozy, and then they drove away in a beautiful Rolls Royce. Now, I understand wanting to spend a lot of money on your big day, but these guys partied so hard. There were hundreds of thousands of dollars in goodies at this thing. Apparently, the ceremony was not all smooth sailing though, as a few hours prior to the start, Britney's ex-husband Jason Alexander made his way onto the property where he was not invited. A security team took him down and held him until the cops arrived. Now, whether it was the universe or Jason's jealousy, the rocky start to their ceremony was certainly a warning that this was not going to work out. Number 7. Sam's typecasting. Britney is of course a pop singing sensation, which means that she's filmed a few music videos in her time. One of the first red flags came very early on in their relationship. They met on set of her music video for the song Slumber Party as her love interest on the song Slumber Party, where he played her love interest and arm candy. Sam had previously been featured in a music video for Fifth Harmony where he was also a hunky silent man, but this time he was a construction worker. Spending so much time with Sam as her man in the video must have convinced her that he was her one and only. Following the rap, these two continued to see each other constantly, with many paparazzo spotting them out at dinner or shopping. But it was revealed in the TMZ documentary, previously mentioned, that Britney continued to treat him as some pretty face that she was meant to direct. He recalls several fights over the way that he was being spoken to or the way that things were being done. Over the following months, anytime they were photographed together, they just looked awkward. Like they're posing for a picture that they just really don't want to take. Number 6. The New York Times defense. Asghari. Asghari spoke out to defend Britney after a New York Times documentary took a closer look at her life and career amid her legal battles against her father, Jamie Spears, removed as her conservator. He told people it was important to understand that Sam had zero respect for someone trying to control their relationship and constantly throwing obstacles in their way. He wrote to his Instagram story in February of 2021 that in his opinion, Jamie is a total Dick Van Dyke. Not really, he just said. He also said, I won't get too deep into details because he respected his own privacy and he did not come to this country to be held back from expressing his opinions. The comments came a day after he gave a statement to People magazine amid social media speculation about Britney. He held a very solid defense and maintained that any and all rumors about himself or Britney were just not true. The rumors, of course, were that the couple had been suffering some kind of an issue, but it was behind the scenes. Of course, it turned out every single one of the rumors were true, with the possible infidelity scandal scandal being the only one that's yet to be proven. So, the big question is, why did Sam deny the allegations so hard if he knew that there was something to them? Why spend more time with Britney when he seemed to have some idea that it wasn't working out? This was all before they were even engaged. So why would Sam double down? These are all questions that I wish I could answer, but until Sam or Britney respond to my emails, I got nothing. Number 5. Sam's painful smile. Since the split was announced, more and more articles have come out of the woodwork containing various pictures from over the years. Now, this entry is for entertainment purposes. I didn't find anything to back up this theory, but can we just agree that this man looks uncomfortable like half of the time he's with Britney? In a ton of pictures, you can see he has this nice smile, but there are some where he just looks disheveled, like Britney just stepped on his toes moments before capturing the moment. My theory is that Sam has been trying to send us subtle messages, literally photographing himself crying for help. Now, I know what you're thinking, but hear me out. This guy is a professional model. It is his job to smile and look good on camera, but for some reason when Britney is around, his instincts go away and instead he goes to, please go away. There are several photos of them in the most beautiful places in the world where one should not be able to wipe the smile off of their face. But Sam looks like he just smelled something terrible and it might be Britney. I don't know if there is much to that one, but hey, you never know, and yes, I'm aware I just spent a couple minutes roasting a model. No need to remind me I'm not one in the comments. Number 4. The workout takes. Britney's husband Sam is of course involved in the fitness world. Just look at this guy. His body is fueled by protein powder and Joe Rogan's podcast. But Sam actually used to be a bit of a heavyset man, going through a massive weight loss transformation before ever meeting Britney. His story seemed to inspire her, as throughout the majority of 2019 and 2020, Britney and Sam were chronicling their fitness journey as a couple online, sharing workout clips and publicly tracking their goals. While doing a small interview for the Associated Press, the couple told the outlet that they took over 40 takes of their intense workout, with Britney claiming to have been in an enormous amount of pain. However, the fact that they cared about getting the right take so much is a massive red flag. Instead of just working out together and bonding, they decided to get as much clout as they could. The more uploads for these two, the better. Sam was barely bothered by the workout. In fact, the entire time you can see him silently judging Britney. If they were truly in love, Sam would have seen her pain and made her comfortable, but instead, she was made to suffer. Number 3. They couldn't even share a bike together. Taking one of the top spots on our list is the most concerning and disturbing red flag of all. These guys had a chance to share a tandem bike together, and they didn't. What? In June 2019, Britney posted a picture of herself and Sam on bikes riding through a park with the caption, "I'm so blessed to have this in my neighborhood." To which Sam cheekily commented, "Do you mean the lake or that handsome gentleman?" There are 2 red flags here. The first, of course, being that the pair are simply riding bikes together and not on a 2-person bike like they do in the movies. The second is Britney's wording. In the post, she never actually says anything nice about her hubby. She responds to his comment, but it wasn't filled with love, it was filled with sarcasm. As I will mention later in this list, when it comes time to post things about lovey-dovey stuff, Britney has a tendency to forget about Sam. I have no idea if some of these things are true on this list. This is for entertainment purposes, but man, I wish I had a direct line to Britney Spears. That would be a very interesting phone call. Number 2. Sam sleeps on the couch. When it comes to a lover's quarrel, Sam and Britney are expert fire starters, able to rile each other up in an instant. One of the major reveals since the announcement of their split was the confirmation that there was a significant fight at some point in recent history. A story revealed in the TMZ documentary that Sam was spending most nights on the couch, wishing he could figure out what he did wrong. They had been having issues over the public image being presented by news outlets because they were somehow getting crucial information that caused severe stress for the couple. Whenever they would try to deal with their problems though, it ended in a massive blowout. Not long after the TMZ documentary was released, Sam was seen spiraling in public. Photos have since been wiped from the internet, but the idea of Sam sitting somewhere sad is not a fun sight. Britney was probably in the exact same state, which may explain some of her more questionable behavior this past year. Don't believe me? Just check out her TikTok. And at number 1, he loves her, but she doesn't love him. One major sign that this relationship was not working out were the several posts made about each other and the huge differences between them. Whenever Sam posts something about Britney, it's like he's trying to write her a poem every single time. It's so eloquent and well thought out. Whereas when Britney posts the photo, it's just like, luckiest girl around. #part date. This poor dude is laying awake at night trying to come up with a sweet way to wish his girl a happy birthday online, but Britney's the type to just send a cake emoji and a little winky face. Through the majority of their relationship, there are dozens of examples of Sam trying to be a sweet man and express himself when Britney is just giving him very little back. Sure, if it's a special occasion or something, she'll make a nice big post or snap a pic, but it's nothing major. Throughout their entire relationship, it's very clear who is putting in the most effort, which is why the news of her possibly cheating on him is devastating to fans. So far, there is no proof that this has actually taken place, but something tells me that more info will be revealed over the next few weeks. Number 10. Jeremy Allen White and Addison Timlin. Jeremy made a big move in the acting world after his FX comedy series The Bear premiered on Disney Plus this past year, but he's actually been making people laugh, cry, and scream since starring as Lip Gallagher in the hit TV series Shameless, a show that I definitely haven't watched 10 times start to finish back to back. Definitely wouldn't do that. No sir. He met his future wife Addison on set of a film called After School in 2008. They were close friends for almost 12 years before becoming an official item in 2019. The relationship has mainly taken place behind the scenes apart from a few Instagram posts, but Jeremy's love for his wife has been well known since his acceptance speech at the 2023 Golden Globes, where he won the award for the best actor in a musical or comedy TV series. Unfortunately, roughly 2 months ago, Addison filed for a divorce from Jeremy with little to no explanation so far. 3 days following the divorce announcement, she posted a picture of herself with her daughter on Instagram and captioned it "single mom," which was apparently news to Jeremy, who was under the impression that they would be co-parenting. While their relationship may have ended in a mess, there might be a new one on the horizon, as Jeremy was spotted with Wizards of Waverly Place star Selena Gomez. Hey, Lip Gallagher and Alex Russo would be so cute together. Number 9. Natalie Portman. After 11 years of marriage, it was recently announced that Thor: Love and Thunder star Natalie Portman and her husband Benjamin Millipede will be separating following a very public and messy affair on Ben's part. Ben, who I assume is named after a kids cartoon, was spotted with a 25-year-old climate activist. While Portman was mad, she initially did try to work things out with Ben in an attempt to save their marriage, but the affair put a massive strain on their relationship. The couple had met on set of the 2009 drama Black Swan, with Ben acting as a scriptwriter for the project. While the affair had shaken up their relationship, when asked about the issues by Us Weekly, he said that he shared her pain and that he was sending her a new script. I don't know, while they may still be working together professionally, emotionally speaking, they have definitely checked out. Number 8. Drake Bell and Janet von Schmeling. Drake was a small screen sweetheart in the early 2000s, starring in several Nickelodeon shows and movies like Drake and Josh, The Amanda Bynes Show, and of course the live-action Fairly Odd Parents. He was on track to be a megastar in the world of Hollywood, but unfortunately is one of the many Nickelodeon stars who took a turn for the worse. He starred in a number of low-budget flicks over the years, but his status as a celebrity was gone at that point. The nail was finally driven into the coffin in 2021 when Drake was sentenced to 2 years of probation and 200 hours of community service after it was revealed that he had been grooming a younger fan for years. So if you see him in an orange jumpsuit cleaning graffiti off of a wall, you might know why. Recently, it was announced that his wife Janet had filed for divorce from Drake following that situation and another one where he was missing for 5 days on a bender doing God knows what with the strange women and friends that she had never met. On the actual paperwork, Vaughn has cited irreconcilable differences and has requested legal and physical custody of their younglings. In April of this year, Drake was reported missing only to turn up completely unharmed 5 days later, and according to Janet, Drake's mental health had slowly been declining in the last few years. His toxicity towards his partners is nothing new, as his ex Melissa Lingefelt accused him of being verbally manipulative and physically violent. Between his rocky history and declining mental health, we're happy to see that Janet got out of there before anything too crazy took place. Who knows how bad of a dad this guy could actually be. I mean, we all know he can't build a treehouse. Number 7. Joe Jonas and Sophie Turner. Joe and Sophie got together back in 2016 after they had been set up by mutual friends, something that they had been trying to do for quite some time. They got together and instantly fell in love, getting married just over a year after getting together. Sophie admitted to Rolling Stones in 2019 that she was hesitant at first. Joe was this big musician and she was a big TV and film star, meaning that most of the time they would be on opposite ends of the world. Eventually she warmed up and got together with Joe officially, but the split came out of nowhere. For the most part, their relationship has seemed to be stable on the outside. They were never a part of a cheating scandal, which is surprising considering Joe's lack of discretion in the past. There were never any strange rumors or photos, they were just this happy couple. But as of September 1st, Joe Jonas has filed for a divorce from Sophie, with the only current information being that Joe has claimed the relationship to be irretrievably broken. Something pretty serious must have gone on in a very short amount of time. Only hours before the announcement, Joe posted a photo of himself to Instagram with his ring on full display. Despite the minimal amount of tea spilt so far, we are in for a very messy divorce. Number 6. Britney Spears and Sam Asghari. Britney and Sam's marriage is in shambles. The couple that got together back in 2016 seemed to be great on the outside. As Britney was getting better overall, her relationship with Sam became more and more serious. Sam was right there by her side through thick and thin. Eventually, they tied the knot in 2022, which is why it was so devastating for her fans to learn that the couple had called it quits just a little over a month ago. The words used on the actual divorce paperwork say irreconcilable differences, which for Hollywood people just tends to mean nothing good. Sam was the one to officially file for the divorce, demanding that Britney pay spousal support and attorney fees. Since this news is so recent, there is no current update on how the couple are doing or how deep into the process they are. Britney once again made headlines in the media, something that she hadn't really done since the early 2010s. Her divorce was covered constantly, and the internet has been weighing in their decisions ever since. Number 5. Ariana Grande and Ethan Slater. So bear with me here for a moment, because Ariana is actually the cause of this divorce, so strap in. The pop star and Broadway giant are set to star in a film adaptation of the Broadway hit Wicked, following the story of the Wicked Witch before the events of The Wizard of Oz. Ariana plays Glinda the Good, and Slater is Bach, the main love interest of the Wicked Witch. It's ironic that Ariana is the good witch though, as she appears to have stolen another woman's man. Ethan was married to a woman named Lily J since 2018, and the pair even welcomed their first child into the world in 2022. Apparently, Ariana and Ethan fell in love on set and started dating behind the scenes. However, on-set insiders shared the information to Slater's wife, who was furious, and while the couple have agreed to raise their child as co-parents, Ethan officially filed for a divorce in July of this year. Number 4. Billy Porter and Adam Smith. Billy and Adam have been together for 6 years before recently announcing their amicable divorce. The American Horror Story star and his husband Adam met after being introduced by a mutual friend in 2009. They briefly dated but ultimately split before getting back together in 2015 and tying the knot a year later. Over the past few years, they have been one of Hollywood's favorite couples, regularly being spotted at award ceremonies and fancy events, just happily holding each other. It's so cute, it makes me want to vomit. Unfortunately, their relationship seems to have slowly fizzled out as they announced they would be filing for a divorce. The decision came from a conversation that they had and a decision that they made mutually, claiming they will remain friends for the rest of their lives. However, the online rumors and backlash suggest that something a little bit darker has taken place behind the scenes. They've asked everyone to give them some privacy, so why don't we skip some bad jokes and not get into the rumors and just move on to the next entry. Number 3. Shanine Doherty and Kurt Israenko. This past April, the alumni of Charmed filed for a divorce from her husband Kurt after 11 years of marriage. She was photographed in March without her wedding ring on display, causing many to assume that the divorce had been something planned for quite some time. As with most celebrities who file for divorce, the couple cited irreconcilable differences. Shanine claimed that the divorce was the last thing she wanted. Unfortunately, her hubby left her no options. While there was no real confirmation on what was happening behind the scenes, according to Shanine herself, Kurt's agent was intimately involved with their divorce. Neither Kurt nor his agent has spoken out about the rumors, probably because they're too busy getting down. Ooh. Number 2. Noel Gallagher and Sarah McDonald. The former Oasis frontman, now in his mid-50s, revealed that himself and his wife Sarah would be filing for a divorce after 12 years of marriage. According to Noel, the couple simply got bored with each other, something not uncommon for people in their 50s. Speaking with Ireland's Hot Press magazine, Sarah told the outlet that the split was because she was sick and tired of Noel's partying habits. Even at the age of 55, this guy is acting like he's 20 years old, coming home late and reeking of no-no juice. Noel denied the claims and said that it was because of 2020 and being stuck with her for months on end. Noel claimed that while he hated his time in isolation, it was a very revealing time in his life. He was able to work on songs that were unfinished, as well as create some new ones. Much much like a ton of couples at that time, they were realizing that they just weren't good at sharing a space. Before, they were able to go out and about and be alone, but for a solid 6 months, it was just them in a house every single day. So we get it. Number 1, Reese Witherspoon and Jim Toth. Over the years, Reese made quite the name for herself, starring in films like Legally Blonde, Walk the Line, and Hot Pursuit. She was well known for being a comedic actor able to tap into her serious side when the time came for it. Along for the ride right up until 2023 was Jim Toth. Jim has starred in a handful of projects, but mainly acts as a producer, creating sitcoms like According to Jim. The couple first got together in 2011 and quickly tied the knot. Over the last 12 years, there was never a sign that this couple was headed for disaster, but that may be due in part to them not getting out much. Reese has continued to act fairly steadily over the years, but for some reason, she has been appearing less and less in the public. Perhaps there was something going on behind the scenes, as the announcement came only 2 days before they were supposed to celebrate their 12-year anniversary. According to a statement released by both of them, the decision was a mutual one, saying that they enjoyed their time with each other, but things just don't work out sometimes. That literally could have been the summarization for all of these splits.
Number 10, Ariana Grande. The pop star and Broadway giant is set to star in a film adaptation of the Broadway hit Wicked, following the story of the Wicked Witch before the events of The Wizard of Oz. Ariana Grande plays Glinda the Good Witch, and Ethan Slater is Bok, the main love interest of the Wicked Witch. It's ironic that Ariana is the Good Witch though, as she appears to have stolen another woman's man. Ethan Slater was married to a woman named Lily J since 2018, and the pair even welcomed their first child in 2022. Apparently, Ariana and Ethan fell in love on set, and they started dating behind the scenes. However, on set, an insider shared info into Ethan Slater's wife, who was apparently furious. While the couple have agreed to raise their child as co-parents, Ethan officially filed for divorce in July of this year. Number 9, Tom Sandoval. Vanderpump Rules star Tom Sandoval made headlines when accusations that he cheated on his longtime girlfriend Ariana Madix with their co-star Raquel Leviss. While news of the Tom Tom restaurant's co-owner's affair with Leviss broke on March 3rd, sources told People magazine that the affair had been going on for 6 months, leaving Madix blindsided and devastated by the revelation. In a clip from the season 10 finale of Vanderpump Rules, Madix explained to friends Katie Maloney and Shiana Shea about how she found out her boyfriend of 9 years, Tom Sandoval, was cheating on her with their co-star, while also revealing that the affair had been going on for 7 months, rather than 6. Sandoval and Leviss have respectively issued statements acknowledging the allegations within the week that the cheating news broke. Both have now opened up on the months-long affair and have apologized since. Number 8, Lily Reinhart. Cole Sprouse and Lily met on the set of Riverdale in 2016 while filming the pilot episode for the series that finally ended after being the most confusing series of all time. I mean, I had to stop after season 3 because they started getting into D&D, and that's a Stranger Things game. Anyway, they fell in love playing Jughead and Betty, having a relationship that lasted almost 7 years. Somewhere around 2020, things started to go downhill and they were plagued by cheating rumors, and things had apparently become heavy behind the scenes according to Cole. Towards the end of that year, they confirmed the split online, but this year, Cole spoke out about the breakup while having a cancer stick in the middle of an interview, claiming he didn't want to get too deep into the topic, that it was a mutual decision. Unfortunately, Lily began receiving violent and threatening messages following the interview, as well as at the end of the show. This past week, the rumors arose once more, and fans are becoming online detectives once again to uncover the truth. Number 7, Natalie Portman. After 11 years of marriage, it was recently announced that Thor: Love and Thunder star Natalie Portman and her husband Benjamin Millipede will be separating following a very public and messy affair on Benny's part. Ben, who I assume is named after a kid's cartoon, was spotted with a 25-year-old climate activist, and while Natalie Portman was mad, she initially tried to work things out with Ben in an attempt to save their marriage, but the affair put a massive strain on their relationship. The couple had met on the set of the 2009 drama Black Swan, with Ben acting as a scriptwriter for the project. While the affair has shaken up their relationship, when asked about the issues by Us Weekly, he said that he shared her pain and that he was sending her a new script. While they might be working together again professionally, emotionally, they have completely checked out. Number 6, MGK. On February 11th, the couple announced their engagement last January, and then there were rumors of a breakup after they had 3 years together. Megan posted a series of pictures on Instagram with a pointed caption from Beyonce's Lemonade album, which, if you didn't know, is all about infidelity. On top of this, she deleted every trace of MGK from her Instagram page and unfollowed him. In fact, she raised eyebrows by unfollowing literally everyone except Harry Styles, Timothée Chalamet, and notably MGK's long-standing nemesis Eminem. It wasn't surprising that Meghan's unusual behavior prompted people to speculate that she and MGK had called it quits after she'd found him cheating. Meghan topped off the weekend's events by proceeding to deactivate her entire Instagram account. By February 13th, a source informed People magazine that the two of them hadn't quite called off their relationship, but they claimed that Meghan had apparently gone as far as to remove her engagement ring, which FYI was specifically designed to cause pain whenever she takes it off. Apparently, the band is embedded with little diamond spikes that jam into her finger when she tries to pull it off. The final report claims that they had gotten into a spat, but that it had been blown way out of proportion. Then Meghan publicly defended MGK's guitarist Sophie online, who was the alleged mistress in this situation. But there seems to be no proof that anything physical ever took place, and the couple are currently working through their issues, but you never know what could happen in this wild world of Hollywood. Number 5. Sebastian Ledget. This year, Becky G hit the 2023 iHeartRadio music carpet without her engagement ring. She attended the ceremony at which she took home the award for Best Latin Pop Song of the Year for her and Karol G's music collab Mommy. On Tuesday, March 27th, the same day her fiancé Sebastian seemingly confessed that he cheated on his girlfriend of 6 years via Instagram. He posted that over the previous weeks, during a moment that he deeply regrets, a 10-minute lapse in judgment resulted in an extortion plot. The 30-year-old soccer player shared the info on his Instagram after a fan claimed to have proof that he was unfaithful to Becky G. The fan claimed that he had a tryst with a woman while he was out in a club in Madrid last year, and they allegedly had receipts of this affair, including video, audio, texts, and more. The relationship seems to have crumbled, with the latest information being that Becky G is single, whereas Sebastian is trying to figure out incognito mode on his phone. Number 4. Steve Harvey. Now, Steve is trending on Twitter at the moment for two situations, one that actually happened and one that's been rumored. He seemingly fired his social media manager over a negative tweet regarding comedians and is now having to hear rumors about his wife Marjorie Bridges cheating on him. That's right, Harvey shared a video on Friday night suggesting that he fired his social media manager after they posted a tweet urging followers to name a comedian that does not make them laugh. Steve posted a video explaining the situation and claimed that that was not his style and it was not going to happen again. The morning following the post, rumors started circulating that his wife Marjorie would be seeking a divorce. According to the internet, she was caught having an affair with their chef and their bodyguard. And so far, there is very little proof that any of these claims are actually legit. In fact, Steve himself has denied anything of the sort taking place. Friends and family of the couple have also claimed that they have been in contact and they have been told that there is nothing but happiness in their household. So this one is still a rumor at the moment, but this is a so far list and who knows what will be in the news in the near future. Number 3. P. Diddy. The rap star Young Miami confirmed that she and Mr. Sean Combs, aka P. Diddy, are no longer together. The couple went public with their relationship in June last year, but they let everyone know that it wasn't exclusive. They said at one point that they were together every day of the week, basically living together and letting the internet call it whatever they wanted. To double down on the claim, anytime they've been asked if they are official, they must list the people that they've been with outside of each other. Like these are all alibis in a court case or something. This past year, the world was shocked when Sean welcomed his 7th child into the world with a woman named Dana Tran. While the pair had decided to keep things private, apparently this was not part of the deal, and Miami has since made it clear that Sean is no longer her man in any way, shape, or form. So while Sean is stuck raising another baby, Miami will be sipping poolside surrounded by her lovers, and I feel bad for whoever cleans that pool. Number 2. Avril Lavigne. This year, shocking reports had hit the internet claiming that Avril Lavigne had called off her engagement to Mod. TMZ insiders claim that things had been on and off for a while as the couple tried to mend their romance, but then they got in touch with the Karma Singers team, and a rep declared that the last thing he heard from the couple was that they were engaged, and that was only 3 days prior, so anything else would be news to him. Avril had been spotted out and about with a man named Tiger, who she claims is just a friend, but the internet loves to gossip, so the headlines were that Avril was cheating on Mod's son. 1 week after his tour started and the news broke, he posted a series of photos on his Instagram, making references to a broken heart and knowing that there is a plan for everyone. He thanked his fans and went dark. Since then, the two of them have been drenched in rumors, and the only thing that has been confirmed is that these two now reside in Splitsville. And coming in at number 1, Jesse Rutherford. When the news first broke of Billie Eilish and Jesse Rutherford getting together, the internet drowned them in negative comments calling to question why she was dating someone 10 years older. They also poked fun at this couple who dressed up as a baby and an elderly man on their first ever Halloween together. This is the type of thing that would become the norm in their lives. The couple were always spotted wearing matching clothes or outlandish outfits, even making their red carpet debut while wearing matchy Gucci pajamas at the Art and Film Gala. The couple were also known for their very public displays of affection, over-the-top PDA, and inside jokes were the foundation of their relationship, and they seemed very happy together until this past May, when news broke that the pair would be splitting up, claiming that it was a mutual decision. But it was later speculated that the split was due to Jesse getting busy behind Billy's back. Whether the spark just fizzled out or something darker took place, Jesse and Billy will be fine and find new people soon. I mean, just look at these two side by side, they are goth king and queen. His eye tattoo is really staring at me.
Number 10. Gal Gadot. Gal has already made a place for herself amongst the world of powerful celebs thanks to her role as the iconic superhero Wonder Woman in the DC Extended Universe. A few years back, she was offered the opportunity to portray another iconic character loved by many, this time as the lovable plastic princess, Barbie. Around the same time as this film was getting off the ground, she was set to film her role in Wonder Woman 1984 and had also already signed contracts to appear in multiple DC and Netflix projects over the last couple of years. Despite initially being offered the lead, she was another celeb that wasn't even asked to make a small appearance in the already massive ensemble cast. She will more than likely not be checking this movie out, as not only is she too busy, but honestly, why would she want to see so many people having fun that she didn't get invited to? That's just like inviting the guy that you don't like to a party and letting them sit in a corner all night observing. Hey, it's uncomfortable. Don't invite that guy. Number 9. Cillian Murphy. Cillian is the man set to star as the titular scientist in Christopher Nolan's upcoming masterpiece, Oppenheimer. The film features an all-star cast with the likes of Matt Damon, Florence Pugh, and Robert Downey Jr. As the internet has certainly hammered into your brain by now, Oppenheimer is set to release on the same day as Barbie. These two movies are somehow the most anticipated releases of the summer. I physically cannot purchase a ticket to either of these movies for at least a week because good god they are sold out. A good thing for the films, but not for the cast. Cillian has claimed that his film may be making money, but that it's not for the intended reason. The goal of the film is to deliver a cinematic experience that you won't forget, and instead people are buying tickets as a meme, and I can only imagine how disruptive those crowds are going to be. He has claimed that he will never watch the Barbie movie as it ruined the premiere of his film, and it won't have the intended impact that it was supposed to. Get it? Impact? Like a bomb? Number 8. Zac Efron. Zachary David Alexander Efron is no stranger to the world of rumor casting. For the last 4 years, he's been on the top of Marvel's list of actors who may play Johnny Storm in the Fantastic Four. But apparently he was also at the top of someone else's higher list, and that was the list of toy giant Mattel. That list was of the men that they wanted to play the leading Ken in their new Barbie live-action movie. Zach was their number 1 pick to portray the iconic male counterpart to Barbie, but they asked him to participate in the film and he denied their request. Apparently at the time of production, he was already working on his thriller action movie called Gold, which ended up being a dud at the box office. Due to his busy schedule, as well as a commitment to appear as the wrestler Kevin Von Erich in a new biopic called The Iron Claw, Zach was unable to commit to the flick and was eventually replaced with Ryan Gosling, who, let's face it, he's gonna be the best Ken ever portrayed on screen. Now, I don't know for sure if anybody on this list will or will not see the movie, but something tells me that Zach isn't waiting in line to watch someone in what was supposed to be his role. Number 7. Vin Diesel. Vin Diesel, whose real name I just found out is Mark Sinclair, so it makes sense why he changed that, has been starring as the leading man of the Fast and Furious franchise since the first film was released in 2001. As many may expect, being the face of a franchise like that means Vin is almost always filming. The Fast and Furious movies have been known to take forever to finish thanks to the complicated stunts, the CGI, and just the overall insanity of the project. Seriously, they went to space in the last movie. Fast 10 premiered this past May to massive success, and somehow after 10 movies, fans are still eating up these action-packed fuel rides, despite them getting cheesier and cheesier over the years. Thanks to its initial success, the planned 10th Fast and Furious movie has begun production. Lord knows who they wrapped into that one. They've got Jason Momoa and John Cena mixed into this now. The next movie should reveal that Nicolas Cage has been their dad the whole time. Since Vin will be working hard on his next Fast movie, he will have no time to see the Barbie movie and refuses to make any time to see it. Number 6. Martin Short. Martin Short is a man who needs no introduction because he usually does it himself. Martin is one of the original comedy greats, being a key member in making the Canadian sketch comedy series Second City Television alongside fellow Canadian legends like Eugene Levy, Catherine O'Hara, and the late great John Candy. Martin has lent his magnificent voice to many projects over the years, both on screen and in a recording booth. And in case you didn't know, Mattel has actually been pumping out Barbie movies since computers were capable of rendering something that resembled a person. The early animated movies of Barbie are just hard to watch, but there is one particular movie that featured Martin as the main antagonist. The Princess and the Pauper is a 2004 horror film, kids movie, in which Martin played the character Preminger. I'm not entirely sure why he said yes to this project, but as you'll come to learn, the Barbie title brings a lot of cheddar with it, so thanks to this movie being made on a shoestring budget, he got a lot of money. When it was announced that there would be a live-action version of Barbie, Martin was initially excited, hoping that he may get a chance to star in the film and sing his little heart out. Instead, the movie started production without him, and he didn't know that he wasn't going to be involved until after the trailer came out. Whether it be pride or a form of revenge, Martin will not be attending the Barbie premiere. Instead, he'll be next door getting his eardrums caved in at Oppenheimer. Number 5. Amy Schumer. And the film Trainwreck, which is the most accurate film title of all time, has been a busy bee for a while now. Amy's career has been rocky on screen, however behind the scenes she's been very active as a writer, a producer, and a stand-up comedian, with her latest special Emergency Contact now streaming on Netflix. Recently, Amy was asked to participate in a small project alongside Margot and Ryan called Barbie. Amy was one of the many talents offered a spot in the live-action film adaptation of one of the most popular dolls in human history, but she denied that request to appear as one of the many variants. Her reasoning isn't anything scandalous, it's just simply because Amy was on tour during the time of filming and couldn't actually physically be on set. But she actually shared a story about herself being asked to audition for the role 6 years ago, but claimed that due to the film taking so long to produce on top of just her busy schedule that it would have been impossible for her to do. The idea of Amy in the film isn't horrible, she could have been like a fun little addition to the ensemble cast, but because of the drama that surrounded the original movie and probably what surrounded it now, because hey, she didn't get asked to return, she's not gonna be going to the theater to watch something that they just forgot about her in. Like, why not bring Amy in? You asked her a few years ago. Number 4. Tim Curry. I see you shiver with anticipation. Tim Curry, better known as the most wonderful and treasured man to ever grace our screens, has a little bit of a bias towards the live-action Barbie movie, and it's for a good reason. In 2001, Tim participated in a straight-to-video DVD called Barbie and the Nutcracker, playing the main antagonist of the piece, the Mouse King. For some reason, the producers over at Mattel just love spending all of their money on getting a good villain. How about throwing some more money into the graphics, guys? These people are horrifying to look at. The Nutcracker was actually the company's very first attempt at animation and motion capture, so we have to forgive them a little bit. Maybe if they had as much money as Disney, things would have been different. Because Tim technically broke ground by starring in this flick, he holds a grudge towards the creators of the live action film, having a personal belief that they canceled the franchise that had been doing fine, considering that there were like 40 Barbie movies by now. Literally, I counted, there are exactly 42 Barbie movies that have been released since 2001. I don't know how I feel about that. Tim is just one of the many animated stars that won't be stopping by the theater to watch this mess anytime soon. Number 3. Anne Hathaway. Anne Hathaway doesn't just share the same name as William Shakespeare's wife, yes, that is a real fact. She's also been up for a few roles over the years, with one particular one leaving a sour note in her career. Anne was actually on the short list of people who were going to be casted as the live-action Barbie lead. She had made it through several rounds of auditions and performed multiple read-throughs with cast members, but the role was ultimately offered to Margot Robbie. There was no real reasoning for this other than the studio believing that Margot was just better suited for the role. Yep, nothing wrong, just the studio saying, hey, we picked someone better, my darling. When asked about the ordeal in interviews, she so far claimed that the split was simply due to an inability to agree on things. Creative differences once again cost someone their job. However, Anne was up for the role a long time ago. Perhaps there is still hope that she'll make an appearance in the movie alongside many other A-list actors, surely making their cameo mark in the Barbie world. But she'll probably not go out and see it because, hey, it costs too much to go to the movies these days. Number 2. Seth Rogen. As mentioned earlier in this list, the Barbie movie we are about to receive was not the very first planned live-action movie. During a brief period in 2018, the Barbie movie was being written by a production company that really had nothing to do with kids' toys. Seth Rogen's production house, Point Grey, were one of the many companies who had a toe dipped into the Barbie pond. Their part in the project was to pitch and punch up the existing script to add a little bit more adult humor for the parents in the crowd. Ultimately, the end product was nothing like what Mattel was expecting, and honestly, I'm not sure what they wanted. They asked the guy who blew up the leader of North Korea to punch up a movie about a doll. At the end of the day, Seth's version of the film was shelved along with any other versions of the project as Warner Brothers purchased the rights. When the first trailer got released for the Barbie movie, Seth actually had no cares to give, reason being, he already moved on to his next passion project, an animated reboot of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which so far just looks awesome. Since Seth has spent the last year developing his new movie, he has little to no time to actually go out and do things and watch anything in theaters. So something tells me that if he could go though, he'd be more of an Oppenheimer kind of a guy. And at number 1, Margot Robbie. Taking the number 1 spot on our list is Margot Robbie herself. Now, many actors have famously refused to see their own movies, and it's usually as simple as being uncomfortable with seeing themselves on such a massive screen. With Margot being the lead Barbie of this movie, we are surely going to be blessed with loads and loads of screen time dedicated to Margot and her feet, which are for some reason causing the internet to lose their mind. Think the whole heel thing is impressive? I watched this woman suffocate a man, walk across his chest, steal his keys, and unlock herself, all with her feet. For that, and I'm sure a million other reasons, she will not be attending the premiere this time around. One of those reasons is probably not wanting people to stare at her feet instead of watching the movie. Hey y'all, her eyes are up here!